match the tone and energy.
That's what the directors are for. Yeah.
Hi, Gloria.
Hi. So I was wondering if there's one thing that Glenn taught you personally, and what advice would you give Glenn if you could talk to him?
I think Glenn taught me about perseverance, and I think Glenn taught me about knowing how to look on the bright side of things. And I know these are very classic cliches, but those are very honest and truthful too. Sometimes as an actor, I would read a Glenn line and I'd kind of be like, oh my God, all this stuff has happened, and how can he think of the world this way? Like, I almost don't feel right saying these words, because how can you be optimistic at a time like this? And ultimately, I'd have to say those lines, and I'd have to justify it. But then when I would say it, it would just feel right. Glenn, being in Glenn character like that felt right to say. And I think that's a really cool way of knowing the world, you know, that you are also creating the world as you speak it and as you live it. You know, one thing can happen to you and you can either choose to look at it completely negatively, or you can look at the positives of that situation. I know that's difficult, but if you can look on the positives, it really does shift your worldview, and it really does shift your the way that you approach life. And that's a lesson that I learned from him, for sure. I don't know if I could offer him any lessons. I think he's kind of better than me. You know, like Glenn's a pretty cool character. Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're playing a character that's got a lot of negativity going on, say, or is not a good person, that as an actor you might want to try to go home and get rid of that emotion, take that away. So conversely, if you're playing someone like Glenn that you actually admire those characteristics, then you just kind of let them stay with you or something?
I think the goal should definitely be to like try to wash those things out anyway, whoever it is.
Just for like your sanity?
Yeah, to be a normal person. But I think also you pick and choose. I think bad characters also lend itself to great lessons about yourself as well. I learned a ton from playing Ben in Burning, so probably stuff that just personal to me. But when you do play characters that are maybe on the darker side, they can really open up parts of you that you didn't know that you could access, and give you strength and power that you kind of have to balance, you know? There's no good or bad per se, it's just balance.
If you channel the power in a different way.
Hi Stephen, big fan.
Thank you.
We know that Glenn was a very moral character. How would it have been if it was Maggie on the end with Lucille, and how would he have treated Negan when Rick kept him alive?
I think if Maggie would have died, especially with the unborn child, Glenn would have been broken. I think he would have broke. And I think it is, honestly, I don't say this just to say this, like I think it is a woman's strength to like persevere through those moments that I don't think, not to say all men couldn't, but just to say women are strong, and I feel like Maggie against Glenn in that moment is the better candidate to like continue to thrive. And Glenn might have just broke right there. If I would be real.
I imagine you said you saw the rest of season 7, and Lauren Cohan's performance I thought was pretty moving, her reaction to that.
Yeah.
How was it for you to watch that?
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's an incredible actor. She wore all that pain on herself, and that's a very hard thing to do. But I've seen my own wife persevere through things that I look at, I was like, I'd never be able to handle that, and she just does, deals with it. So I'm just, Maybe Glenn's better than that, but that'd be pretty rough to see your wife and your unborn child. Yeah, so I try not to imagine that.
Too much.
Yeah, too much.
Hey, over here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Yeun. How are you? I'm Lenore from Washington, D.C.
Hey.
Forgive me, I'm jet lagging like you are.
Cool.
And I just got new contacts, so I can't see you. So I'm
Great.
looking at the screen. I didn't want you to think I was being disrespectful by not looking you in your face, but I can't see you. I just wanted to tell you I've been boxing for Glenn, Total Team Glenn, for quite a while. I convert people to the show, and I use you. I say, watch Glenn. He is the badass of the show.
Thanks.
When they say Rick or Daryl, I say no. Rick is seeing dead wives. Rick is hearing phones ringing. Daryl can punk out sometimes. Morgan is putting sticks in the ground, talking about clear, all while Glenn is first in, volunteer, never lost his mind, family man, kept it together, and that's what I be telling people all the time.
That's cool.
That
Thank
you are the badass of the show.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Anyway, to my question with Nicholas. Again, it's a very moral character, like everyone has been saying. But I do wonder, do you think the way they wrote the character, do you think that even Glenn was happy that Nicholas was gone because he was just not redemptive? He to me, was like your antithesis on the show, like the coward and all of that. Do you think he would have tried to redeem Nicholas, or was he relieved?
I think the connection of Glenn to Nicholas was that Nicholas was a version of Glenn that could have been or that still exists inside of him. And Nicholas is the same as Glenn, except Glenn somehow found a way to overcome those things. And so the heart that he had for Nicholas was, it started at first as this like reflection back of Glenn that he didn't want to face, and he was just like, oh, those types of people I don't like, and I don't like those people. But I think Glenn started to understand and forgive himself for having a moment that Nicholas had. I think season 3, Glenn froze up behind that dumpster, actually. Oh, shoot. Cool, I didn't even think that. I didn't put that together. Oh, shoot. But yeah, I think when they were coming out after that duel, that like standoff that they had with Random Traveler, with Herschel and Rick and Glenn when they're at that bar, Glenn freezes up. And he freezes up because he admits that for the first time he has something to lose in Maggie. And that's probably a moment where he was like, oh, this is me at my weakest. And he saw what Nicholas was going through, and I think he could really empathize with that. And so I don't know if he was incredibly happy that Nicholas couldn't make it out, that the road that Nicholas chose to take was the one of ending it, quitting it. I think Glenn definitely had a heart for Nicholas and was hoping that he could persevere through it all just like he did.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It always got me how, during that time especially, Michael Trenor would come to the conventions and get booed. And he's such an awesome guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts about people mixing up actors with characters?
I mean, I get it. But, we're just actors. I don't know. I don't even know how to get on that. I think, I don't know. Beyond even getting that deep, I think for me, what your question kind of begs for me is, what I think was the beauty of the show is I know that it's really easy and fun to compartmentalize each of these characters to say this one's the bad one, or this one's the cowardly one, or this one's the cool one, or the good one. And I know that's kind of how our world functions, but really, like, the beauty of Walking Dead was that you could find humanity in every single one of these characters, whether they were weak or strong or brave or cowardly, whatever it was, there was some semblance of us that you can definitely empathize with. And you know, it is easy to boo or not like a certain type of person, but all those people are broken just like every other person in that place. And that was what was so interesting and fascinating for me to be part of that show, was just to see a portrayal of all these broken people that are deciding to carry on and the burden that they carry with them in this post-apocalyptic world. So, I mean, you can shit on Nicholas, but that guy's still alive and the world looks terrible. And so, will we be able to do that? I don't know, maybe a bunch of us would opt out in the first week. But people move on and carry on, and we're all messed up.
I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, sorry, I got so deep.
No, it's great.
My bad.
I love that sentiment. I love that sentiment about not just pegging people, right? Everybody's got their humanity. Let's not end it on a deep one. Let's take one more question. Okay, over here. Hey, one more.
Maybe something about farts?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'm Kira. I just say first that you are my favorite character ever.
Thank you.
And my sister is back there. She loves you as well. You said you played The Last of Us, yeah?
Yeah.
Which world do you think would be harder to live in, The Last of Us world or The Walking Dead? And also, who do you think would win in a fight, Ellie and Joel or Carl and Rick?
Oh, dang, that's a good question. I would say it's harder to live in The Last of Us world because they're scarier and they scream and they run at you. It's terrifying. And then the big ones explode. Just not cool. But I would say Rick and Carl would win. I feel like the other two have sensed and seen loss, just like Rick and Carl have. But Rick and Carl have done some crazy, gnarly things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that's where we're going to end it. So everybody, thanks, Stephen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.